Hello everyone. Today's my topic is banker and customer relationship. First, to know what is banker and what is customer. Then we will know what is the relationship between both. First, I will tell you what is banker meaning. According to section 5C of the Banking Regulation Act 1949, a banker is a person who undertakes business of banking. Means give and take. Banking means accepting deposits from public, those who have extra money, for the purpose of lending, repayable on demand or otherwise, withdrawable by check, draft or order. And meaning of customer, a customer means a person who seeks to open account which banker accepts with proper introduction. The relationship is not based on frequency of transactions and duration. It means customer means to open the account in bank. It's not based on the frequency to go in bank, but it's based on open your account in bank account. Now I will tell you what are the types of relationship. There are two types of customer and banker relationship. Number one, general relationship, and number two, special relationship. In general relationship, we can again divide it into two parts: primary relationship and secondary relationship. In primary relationship, we can explain it debtor and creditor relationship and creditor and debtor relationship. What is the meaning of debtor and creditor relationship? Debtor and creditor relationship creates when a customer deposits his or her money in his bank account. Then the customer becomes the debtor of the bank, and when the customer is in form of creditor. But when creditor and debtor relationship create, just inverse this condition. When a customer borrow the money from the bank, then bank in form of creditor and customer in form of debtor. Secondary relationship, it can be in different forms, just like banker as a trustee and customer in form of beneficiary. How it can create? When a trust is an obligation annexed to the ownership of property and arising out of a confidence reposted in and accepted by the owner, or declared and accepted by him. It means when a customer deposit his money or deposit his security in form of locker account, he deposit his money, he secured his money, he secured his any documents in his locker account, then in form of banker creates work as a trustee and a customer is a beneficiary. Then second type of secondary relationship, banker as a bailee. How it creates? Banker as a bailee and customer as a bailer. As per section 148 of Indian Contract Act 1872 defines bailment, bailer and bailee. A bailment is the delivery of goods by one person to another for some purpose upon a contract that they shall, when the purpose is accomplished, be returned or otherwise disposed of according to the directions of the person delivering them. The person delivering the goods is called the bailer. The person to whom they are delivered is called the bailee. Banks secure their advances by obtaining tangible securities. When a person borrow the money from the bank, then bank mortgage his any tangible security or asset. Then bank secure their advances by obtaining tangible securities. In some cases, physical possession of securities, goods, pledged, valuable, bonds, etc. are taken. While taking physical possession of securities, the bank becomes bailee. In this condition, bank becomes bailee and the customer becomes bailer. Banks also keeps articles, valuable securities, etc. of its customer in his safe custody and acts as a bailee. As a bailee, the bank is required to take care of the goods bailed. It means when a person takes loan from bank, then in that form bank mortgage his tangible assets. Or when a customer secured his money, when a customer opens his locker account, then in form of bank creates the work as a bailee and customer in form of bailer. Now the next form of lessor and lessee relationship. Lessor, as per section 105 of Transfer of Property Act 1882, defines lease, lessor, lessee, premium and rent. As per the section, a lease of immovable property is a transfer of a right to enjoy such property made for a certain time, express or implied, or in perpetuity, in consideration of a price paid or promised, or of money, a share of crops, service, or any other things of value to be rendered periodically or on specified occasions to the transferor by the transferee, who accepts the transfer on such term. Definition of lessor, lessee, premium and rent. The transferor is called the lessor and transferee is called the lessee. The price is called the premium and the money, share, service or other thing to be so rendered is called the rent. It means suppose a customer open his locker account in bank, then in form of bank provides security, so rent is in form of is known as premium, and bank in form of transferee is called as lessor and transferee is called the lessee. Then banker is lessor in form of lessor and the customer in form of lessee. Then banker as an agent, and customer in form of principal. It means banker provides various tasks for a customer. Suppose we customer ordered bank to receive the money, to collected his money from other banks. So bank creates various tasks as an agent. So in this form, bank as an agent and customer in form of principal. Then next, as a custodian, bank provides security of our locker account and our documents. So in this form, banker provides as a custodian, as a custody and as a guarantor. Banks works as a guarantor. Banks give guarantee on behalf of their customers and enter into their documents. Guarantee is a contingent contract. As per section 31 of Indian Contract Act, guarantee is a contingent contract. Contingent contract is a contract to do or not to do something if some event collateral to such contract does or does not happen. It would thus be observed that banker-customer relationship is transactional relationships. Banks provide security and guarantor of his or her customer. Now I will tell you what is the special relationship between banker and customer. In primary relationship, I will tell you bank and debtor and creditor relationship and creditor and debtor relationship. And in secondary relationship, I will tell you banker creates various tasks for a customer in form of trustee, in form of agent, in form of custodian, etc. These items comes in general relationship. And in special relationship between banker and customer, obligations or duties of a banker and rights of a banker. Obligation or duties of a banker. Number 1, obligation to honor the customer's check. A banker, it's a banker's duty. When a customer drawn a check to another person, then it's a duty of a bank to pay that check. Those person appears in front of bank, then he will pay. Then obligation to maintain secrecy of customer's account, to maintain the secrecy of his customer account. Obligation to receive the checks and other instrument for collection, to receive the checks and other instruments on behalf of his customer. It's a duty of a bank. Obligation to honor the check of customers across the counter. Those person who will carry the check, then it's a duty of a bank to pay that check. Obligation to give reasonable notice before closing the customer's account. It's an obligation or duty of a bank to give reasonable reason before closing. If he wants to close the customer's account, then it's a duty of a bank to give this reason to close that account, to close the account of that person. It's a duty of a banker. Now I will tell you what are the rights of a banker. Banker's right. Number 1, banker's right to charge interest, commission, incidental charges, has an implied right to charge for service rendered to a customer. Banks, it's a right of a bank to collect his interest, charge interest. Means if a customer has raised his loan account, then bank can charge interest on that loan. And incidental charges and commission, bank can charge commission if he provide any work for a customer, then obviously he can charge commission on his customer. And incidental charges means incidental charges are levied by banker on the inoperative or unremunerative current accounts of the customers. Incidental charges rates are revised by the bank from time to time. It's a right to the bank to collect these charges from his customer. Now second right not to produce books of accounts. It means if any problem is created, then bank's task is not open or disclose to total account of the customer, but only main or severe part of the account to disclose the information. So rights not to produce books of account means, according to the provisions of the Banker Books Evidence Act 1891, the banker need not produce the original books of accounts as evidence in cases in which the banker is not a party. He can issue only an attested copy of the required portion of the account which can be utilized as evidence before the court. It means only that part is necessary, bank can only provide that part. The next, right to set off. It means the right of set off is the process of combining two or more accounts of a customer. It is a statutory right available to a banker to set off a debt owed to him by a debtor from credit balance held in other account of the debtor. The conditions for exercising right to set off two or more accounts should be in name of same customer. If a customer has two or more than two accounts, then it's a right of a bank to combine these accounts. The amount of debts must be certain. The amount will be fixed, so that in that condition bank can right to set off. Then right to appropriation. If the customer has more than one loan account, the customer can direct the repayment of the loan as credit into any other accounts. If there is no specific direction from the customers, the banker has a right to appropriate as per his choice. If the customer is not given any clue or any right, then bank can choose any one of his choice. Banker right of general lien. But first I will tell you what is the meaning of lien. Lien is the right of a payment to retain the property belonging to another until the debt due from the owner of that property is unpaid. When a customer is not paid his complete loan account, then bank can retain his property, his mortgage property, in form of lien. Then bank general lien, it is the right of the banker to retain the goods and securities entrusted to him as a banker by a customer in respect of the general balance due from the customer. Now I will tell you termination of relationship between banker and customer, how it can terminate. Number one, the death, insolvency and lunacy of the customer. If any customer of a bank can he or she can death, insolvent and lunacy, then this relationship obviously by default terminate. The customer closing the account, that is voluntary termination. If the customer voluntarily wants to close his or her account, then its relationship naturally terminate. Liquidation of the company. If any company liquidize, then naturally, and the account opened by the name of company, then by default the relationship between banker and customer is terminate. The closing of the account by the bank after giving due notice. When banks give the notice of closing of the account, of customer's account closing, then by default the relationship between banker and customer is terminate. Next, the completion of the contract or the specific transaction. When bank account is open only for a specific purpose, when then that specific transaction, that specific project is completed, then by default or naturally this relationship will terminate. So if you have any problem, then you can ask from me. Thank you.